I am Swdfm, and this is Pokémon Fantasy version, which I'm the developer of. So this is the video is pre-recorded, and I'm basically talking over it the following day. So excuse me if the video doesn't quite match up with the audio. And we decided to call our character Bob, and we became a sort of green man. I was on normal difficulty for this walkthrough, but hard difficulty's similar, except obviously it's harder. We picked Fennekin, but what I've done in this playthrough is I've tried to make the starter, not use the starter as much after the sort of early game, just to show that this can sort of be walked through regardless of which starter you use. We've picked Fennekin though, just because it was the one in the middle. To your left, you'll see the Sorcerer. He's basically the storage system, which I'm sort of demonstrating there. It's much the same as the PC. And you've got basically Nurse Joy, or the Sorceress, in this game. So then, the first part of the game, you go south to Wizard's Tower to meet with the Grand Wizard. You haven't got access to Pokeballs yet, so you can fight Pokemon. We were lucky enough not to run into any, but you basically got Bidoof. I'll come into that in a bit. And you run up the tower, obviously, as you can see. But then halfway up the tower, you are rather rudely interrupted by your rival, which we've called Boris for some reason. He'll use the starter that's strong against yours. You don't have to win this battle. You can definitely lose it, and you'll still progress in the game. For those Nuzlocking, I suggest you don't start the game until the Grand Wizard, which is coming up in a second. As you can see, we rather humiliatingly lost, and he runs off. So here's the Grand Wizard. You talk to him, he'll give you Pokeballs, Kingdom Map, and potions, and also the Dex Orb, which is basically the Pokedex. You're then expected to go east to Sage City. But what we did is we caught a few. So we caught a Rookie D, called it Bird, and we also caught a Hatenna, which has a 5% chance of appearing. And then, because literally on the very next encounter, we found another one and called it Hattie, and then we boxed the previous Hatenna. And then after that, we did a bit of grinding with both Fox and Hattie to get them both to level 6, which is sort of the recommended level, I think, at this part of the game to get your teammates to. Obviously, you'd have your starter to that level as well. And then we found the Shiny, which is a nice bonus. I don't use this much so far in the playthrough. So we boxed it. Luckily, we didn't release it, which is funny. Okay, and then this is just the remaining bit of the training montage about getting Hattie to level 6. Now I'm ready to move on. East of Peasant Village, Windmill Field. You'll find this trainer here, and he has got a Bidoof, and we've got 2 Bidoofs, which is pretty decent XP at this point in the game. And then you just literally run east like this. You'll find this trainer with a Rookie D, and apparently no other Pokemon, but I'm pretty sure they've got 2. It won't be that difficult anyway. You're at Sage City now. There's a cutscene with the Dragon Slayer. It's literally just talking. I won't go over the sort of plot in this walkthrough. I'm literally just going over the walkthrough stuff. Then you go back. So then your idea is to run back to the Grand Wizard again. Except this time he's going to battle you. And his Pokemon are around level 10. So what we did is we went west of Peasant Village to Dark Forest North. And we did a bunch of grinding there as well, albeit blacking out a few times because I'm not actually that good as a player. So we're back now that we're confident. And the Grand Wizard will give you a Dark Potion, and he'll run off to get it. A Wizard's Potion to fight Dark Pokemon with. But he'll ask for a battle. So I think what happened was we kept losing to Cutiefly's Fairy Wind. So when this, I think, was a successful battle. So you can see the strategy here. Since I'm Mareep first, all 3 of his Pokemon carry paralysis, so you've got to be a bit careful on that one. And it can be agonizingly annoying. But we sent out Hattie first because it's quite a good special attacker, even at that stage in the game. I managed to get rid of Mareep quite quickly. Cutiefly is probably the most annoying team member. For which we had Bird because it's super effective against its bug type. Luckily, it didn't use Fairy Wind hardly ever, which is pretty useful because Fairy Wind would knock out about half of Bird's HP. It's got a Citrus Berry as its item, which is rather irritating, but you can just sort of just keep pecking at it and just hope for the best on that one. It might take a few attempts. Obviously, if you've got Fennekin as a starter, it's very, very easy. Rowlet, less easy. And Wooloo's its last one. This one is quite good if you've got a special attacker because it keeps raising its defense and doing stuff like that. So that's what we decided to do. We healed Hattie, so it could use its special attacks. I call it special attacks. In this game, it's called magic attacks, but it's force of habit, so I keep saying special attacks, so I apologise for that. It's called magic attacks, but it's more well known as special attacks. So we kept using Play Nice to make sure Wooloo couldn't keep basically knocking us out. And we just basically did the sort of newbie method of using a potion and reducing stats until it was low enough for us to then go and knock it out. And that's basically what we ended up doing, and that's how we won the battle. Once Wooloo feels like fainting, as you can see, we got quite close there, and we nearly lost ourselves, but we managed to eventually go through with it, and it just kept raising its defense, which was pointless because Confusion was a magic attack. So that was quite useful. We managed to defeat the Ground Wizard. That's basically one of the methods you can use. There's quite a few you can use. And he'll give you the Wizard's Potion. Next point, you go north of Sage City, so you run through the field, and you go to Mount Boon. Now, this is the way up. This is where I so that train has 2 Nidorans, as you can see. There's an Ice Cube down there. And there's a leak if you've got a Galarian Farfetch'd. If you push the direction of the letter of the Ice Cube, it goes away. Quite a lot of the footage you cut out, because quite a lot of it's running back to the Sorceress to heal, and then not to. I got out Fennekin because of this particular trainer's Aaron, which was very annoying against my team. So I just got Fennekin out for this one battle, but I actually had to end up using it later on as well. So the Ice Cubes, it says north there. If you push north, it goes away, and it stays away. A bit like the Gen 5. This particular bit of footage shows that if you get knocked out and your Pokemon stops following you can talk to the initial wizard Kwame to get it following you again. The footage is going quite fast here. Obviously, Galar Farfetch is good XP in this area. Spinnerack less so, but they're pretty easy to knock out, so that's always useful. And you just make your way up the mountain. I think we're being poisoned at this point. Which is always useful. You've got a burn heal there, not that you'll need it at this stage, but there's also a super potion around here as well. And this is the hacksaurus, the dark hacksaurus that we kept losing against, as you can see. It's basically, so that's 3 times. We'll go through the battle in a minute, but what we ended up doing was we ended up catching an Axu, or Axua, which we called Dragon, very original. We did a bit more training in Dark Forest North, and that was our sort of team. And then, so we had this updated team, and what do? We still kept losing. So that was great. We got knocked out quite a few times. It's a very difficult battle. You just got to sort of get through it. I think this is the final one. So you got Haxorus there. Level 50, which is quite low for Haxorus, I appreciate. So what we did was we kept using Play Nice to reduce its attack, and then the hope was for Fox to get a burn with Ember, but we didn't manage to get it in this battle. I think we only managed it once in all of our attempts. Haxorus ended up knocking out Fox quite early on, but Hattie, he didn't attack Hattie, so we were quite lucky. We then sent out Dragon to use Leah to make it easier to knock out once we did decide it was safe to do so. So we keep using Play Nice, and we're just sort of praying that it doesn't knock us out. And Dragon Dance is obviously annoying. That's why I had to keep using Play Nice. But on this particular one, it was using Scratch and Taunt a lot more. So this moveset has got Scratch, Taunt, Bite, and Dragon Dance. But if you keep reducing its attack, and also a good method as well is to paralyze it. Paralyzing it is extremely useful, because if it doesn't move on a particular turn, that's an advantage too. I wouldn't paralyze for the speed, because its speed will be really high from Dragon Dances. So we just kept using Play Nice until it was about -4, -5, and then we eventually got Bird out, and he used Hone Claws. So it's already had Leah used on it twice, and you've got Hone Claws as well. So this is where the game becomes quite a lot easier. My strategy at this point was when it was Hattie's turn, if someone's low on HP, use Hattie's turn to heal. But if they're both quite high on HP, then use Play Nice, or towards the later part of the game, use like Disarming Voice or Confusion. Calls Bidoof first. This one uses Yawn, which is probably its worst feature, because it'll put your monster to sleep, which is extremely annoying. But and growl as well isn't helpful, but you can get rid of it relatively quickly, and it's not too much of a threat offensively. So that's basically the stage we were doing at the minute. We just keep keeping its attack low. When the ally faints, then obviously the main dark Pokemon becomes vulnerable again. So that's what we were doing, just pecking away at it, and doing strategies like that. As I say, healing when it was Hattie's turn and attacking on Bird's turn. So eventually it goes down to the halfway point, summons Fracture. Fracture has Iron Tail, which is annoying when it hits, but it's quite inaccurate. Other than that, I'm not sure what the main strategies it's using. It uses Leer, obviously, which is extremely unhelpful. I think it got to the stage where I had to switch someone out. Yeah, that's what I did. I switched Dragon out because I was worried about Leer. And meantime, just using Bird to keep pecking away at Fracture. Hacksaurus will occasionally use Taunt, which can be annoying, but also it saves it from attacking, which is a useful feature at times. So we've got Hattie and Bird out again. Dragon's fainted due to Dragon Pulse, which is annoying on which Fracture has. Luckily, its special attack isn't that high, so that's quite useful for that reason. Magic attack, sorry. So Fracture's knocked out now. We're all relatively high level. Sometimes it'll flinch bite you as well, which is never helpful. But we just keep going with the strategy, either use Play Nice or Heal on Hattie's turn and peck away on Bird's turn. Bibarel is, or Bibarel, however you want to pronounce it, is annoying because it has Moody as its ability. And sometimes that can really change the game. For other times it can't. It's quite good at attacking, but Moody's its main worry, so it's quite important to knock it out fairly quickly. But I just kept calm and using the strategy, and of course Bird learned Pluck halfway through the battle, which is like double the damage of Peck or whatever. Defense kill doesn't help, and also Moody raising defense and magic defense doesn't help either. So I think what I decided to do is just basically go, oh no, it's going to eventually get really strong. Let's both attack it. And also, I think for part of it, I think Hattie's turn it attacked and Bird's turn it healed because physical attacks weren't doing very much to it. So I just sort of kept going with that and hope for the best. At this point, Hacksaurus is pretty useless because its attacks on like -5 or -6. And as you can see, even super effective attacks are barely touching about 1/8 of Hattie's HP. So that's why we just kept going for it. So that was basically the strategy going on there. As you see, we're still healing and attacking on Bird's turn. I don't know why it took so long to move with some of these. I think I was just trying to think properly before making the move, which is obviously important in battles like this when they're pretty high stakes, and it takes a lot to get to this stage of the battle again, because obviously you'll have to knock out Bidoof and Fracture again. But Moody worked in our favour with the attack drop. Basically, with Moody, you've got to... If anything happens to the speed, it doesn't really matter. But some of its defensive stats, if they go up, it can be an absolute nightmare in this battle. But luckily, we knocked out Bibarel, and just the last stroke of Hacksaurus left. At this point, it was practically game over for the boss, because it couldn't get us both at once, because all of its moves are single target. So it's down, and we finally knocked out the Hacksaurus after multiple attempts. And Bird very nicely evolved, which is always nice to see in a playthrough. So now it's a Corvus Squire. And then for the next part of the game, you get congratulated by the Dragon Slayer and confronted by the Necromancer, who I think is going to come up in a minute. Now, what the Necromancer says is he says that he's going to conjure into Toadstool Woods, which are north of Peasant Village. Peasant Village. This person's got 2 Moralol. So the route on there, caught a Lota called Lilypad. Very fast footage at the minute. I decided to fight that wizard anyway. C. Bidoof. You can see the route clearly on the screen. I obviously cut out any footage where I had to go back and heal, and I also cut out any wild Pokemon as well. It's pretty much one path. You get the ice cubes if you want to go back and heal, and you can go back a bit easier. That's new in version 2. That route's a bit of a red herring, but that one isn't. You can just do the ice cube like that and then come back later on. So at the end of this sort of mad forest path, you also got berry spots there. They're very helpful. They work the same as Gen 3 or 4, where you basically just pick up the berries and plant them. You've also got this wizard here. He'll fight you. I cut out his battle in the footage. He's just got the standard Pokemon from around the area. Lotad into Lombre, which is helpful. And then down here you've got another Ice Key, which makes it miles easier than it used to be to fight the Necromancer on repeat turns. Or you can go back and heal and then fight him. You can see the Necromancer's there on the left of the screen. He's just a guy in a mysterious dark cloak. He was a pain, especially his Misdreavus, and he also has he has a Zorua and an Ekans, and then also you got Hypno as well with Confusion. So what we decided to do is bring the Shiny Bidoof out, and so his Misdreavus was a bit of a pain. I think this is the one where he managed to get it correct. So he sent up Dragon first and used Bite just to cut it down to HP because Bird on its own was not managing to do it. We predicted it would use Shadow Ball, so we sent out the Bidoof. This is a sacrificial Bidoof because then we went and healed another Pokemon, so then it would then use Dark Pulse. Now this is quite useful for later on, as you'll see. So it uses Dark Pulse, knocks out the Bidoof. We're all very sad, but we might see him again, I don't know. Bird's out, and we're going to use Hone Claws first to get Power Trip's power up to 60 instead of a 20, which is normally on. And then we're going to do that, and that hopefully, I think that goes and then knocks out Misdreavus, which is probably the most annoying out of all of this Necromancer's Pokemon. So I managed to do that. It switches out Ekans. Here's a way to tell if it's a real Ekans or a Zorua. If it has Intimidate, it's a real Ekans. If it doesn't, it's the Zorua. Okay? So we know it's the real Ekans, so we use Confusion, and I believe we knock it out. No, we don't. So I think at this point we realise that Hattie's no good, and we heal at Bird, which does most of the battle, and we're going to send Bird out now, I believe. Bird uses Pluck on it, and Ekans is knocked out. Yeah, that's what we're doing. So then it sends out this one. This one is another one to tell. If it's level 18, it's a Hypno, the real Hypno, but if it's level 16, it's the fake Zorua. Okay. That's sort of how you can tell. So this one's the fake Zorua, which I don't know if when I was doing the actual battle I knew or not. I think I must have. Certainly when I saw it use Night Slash, I would have worked it out. For some bizarre reason, I didn't heal and instead used Mega Drain, which is a bit odd. But here we are. We've got Bird, full HP, Hone Claws, ready for the 60 power trip again. Night Slash. I don't know if we use Hone Claw. No, we use Pluck this time. It uses Detect, which doesn't really do anything by itself. Yeah, as you see, it was the Zorua because it was level 16 rather than 18. So then we go heal Bird. It heals itself. I think we just literally start plucking again. Detect again, obviously. Oh no, we used Hone Claws. I think we predicted it would use Detect, so we went for the Hone Claws. And now we're very strong in the attack department. So I think we keep Bird for the whole entire thing. Power Trip, I think it OHKOs it. Yes, it does. And that is the Necromancer dealt with after several attempts as well. So we've got Bird to level 21, which is quite high for this stage in the game, but it's quite a challenging battle. So that was the walkthrough up until the Necromancer Key. Very, very useful. And this is the cutscene where the Dragon Slayer congratulates you and walks one step too far to the left. And also the Grand Wizard will thank you as well. And what we're going to do next is we're going to go and try and get to the Witch Key in the game as well. So that'd be quite cool. See you.